We're now going to focus on innovation and the customer ecosystem. And here to talk more about this is the CEO of Rasan. And for those of you who may not know the company, I'm sure most of you do, Rasan is a fintech company that specializes in the insurance and banking technology sectors in the Gulf region. And it specializes in creating and pioneering innovative insurance and banking solutions that individuals and business carry out in their day-to-day financial transactions. So we're going to start with a presentation and then transition into a fireside chat. So we're very honored and pleased to have the CEO of Rasan Information Technology here. Please give it up for Mr. Moyad Abdullah Al Falai.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for, thank you, Sani. First of all, I would love to thank you all of you here. We are Rasan as an insurtech. When we started as an insurtech company, today we are a fintech company. I will go a little bit back in 2013, a little story about Rasan, how we started Rasan. I was in UK. One of my brothers, he's in the last year in the medical school, and his car was broken, and he started asking. He said, I need to buy a new car. We bought a car for him. He said, we need help, please, let's help him to buy a car. We bought a car in 3 days. We spent 1 month to find an insurance for him. We are not background insurance. We are tech guys. We're with my brothers, the founders, the co-founders. And then we decided to say, there is no an aggregator for to find the insurance very quick and fast. As in 2013-14, there is nothing called online insurance. It was, if you want to get motor insurance, you need to physically go to the branch and find and compare with other branch, and spending time, 2 days, 3 days, until you find an insurance. Then we decide to build the aggregator. We build it, but we faced the first actually obstacle, which actually related to the regulator. There's nothing called aggregator. So it was a challenge because we have a classic broker, which actually is not working online. We are lucky because in this time we have a vision in our government, helping all the startup companies, even in terms that there is no regulator, no rules can manage this, so they can go direct to the sandbox. 2017, we launched the first product of Rasan, which actually related specifically for insurance. So we start with the motor insurance, and alhamdulillah, 2017, 2018, and 2019, even with the pandemic, give us a hook and speed up our process, because most of the people at home and you are using the digital. We started in 4 days, alhamdulillah. We are today up to 50% market share in Saudi Arabia. That means 5 of 10 cars and individuals in Saudi Arabia insured in our platform Tamini. Tamini as an aggregator platform for motor, and we expanded 2019 to small and medium businesses for health insurance. And then we start looking to us as, should we stay, should we recognize ourselves as an aggregator, as a distributor for insurance company? Absolutely, we decide to shift our strategy to the whole fintech, and we expand, explore more the opportunity inside the fintech. We decide later on to dig into the value chain of each our product in the insurance, and we found ourselves between the insurance and the banking. Today, after that, in 2020, we launched other product called Awal Mazad, the first auction. It's helping specifically banking and insurance to manage their own cars. Later on, we we launched other product called Treza. Treza is a product related to the banking, which actually the financed car, the leased car. Alhamdulillah, today is 9 of 10 cars leased in Saudi Arabia is insured through our system Treza. We look to ourselves at Rasan as a fintech, and we found a huge opportunity in the market. It's a huge opportunity, and there is a big challenges inside the fintech itself. The word fintech, when we start, we don't know nothing about the fintech, even the insurtech. But what we understand from the insurtech and fintech, that shifting the client focus from company focus to the customer focus make a competitive advantage to Rasan. What we mean about this, when we start building every single a solution at Rasan, we focus always on our customer, focus on the need of our customer. That what create for our Rasan a competitive advantage. Today, alhamdulillah, Rasan is a profitable company, planning inshallah in 7 months to be in IPO in the Saudi market. Exploring the other option and businesses around the GCC, Oman, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, etc. Our focus more on the finding a solution for our partner in the insurance and in the banking. This is a very quick brief. I hope just before I finalize this one, I would love to thank some of people around, some of them here and some not there, some viewers with us. Without our people, if you look at us at Rasan, we are a fintech company, a tech people. They are sitting in the backside with the founders, but in reality, we have a great people. Without these people, I couldn't be here. It's not me, it's not the founder with me, it's the people behind us who create the story, who create the value for our end user. I'm proud to be part of my people. And so I would love to thank first my people to let me to be here in this stage, and to always give us the energy to create more and discover more and explore more product for our customer, for our success. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Moyad. And as you know, please stay because we're now having a fireside chat. And as you so eloquently pointed out, team is, part of the whole essence of a journey. So if you'd like to take a seat, and we're now going to have a fireside chat, and I'm going to welcome up on stage Mr. Yashish Dayaya, who is CEO and co-founder of Policy Bazaar. Welcome. Give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. And I just want to acknowledge, in case you don't know Policy Bazaar, which you probably do, but it's India's most prominent online insurance and general insurance aggregator. And it's also a company that has made the journey of a unicorn and had a successful IPO. So let's hear more about this. So welcome, gentlemen. Having a nice conversation about insurtech. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
Perfect. I just wanted to, because it's always interesting when you hear about founders' journey. So I just wanted to open up hearing from you, Moyad, that it was really an entrepreneurial spirit. You were buying your brother a car and you didn't find the insurance, and that's what's then accelerated to, the global success of Kazan today. And I just wanted to ask you, Yashish, was it the same also for you and Policy Bazaar? Did you actually find somewhere in the market that wasn't working and then?
Yeah, slightly different story, but yes, I was operating in India, like Muad was operating in Saudi. In India, the problem was the middle class in India did not have health insurance, life insurance, and did not think of it as a solution. So it was not even in the consumer's mind that I need to protect myself, or I could protect myself. And the country was coming out of a joint family system where, where parents, grandparents, children would all live together, and so people could take care of each other. But now they were becoming nuclear families and moving into cities. And suddenly, if the earning member fell ill, they had no safety net. And so, so different problem, but a different solution towards that different problem. But I think exactly the same, finding a problem and then solving for it.
And sort of looking at both of your companies, you represent different parts. You're both global, but let's say dominant in Saudi, UAE, and in India. And you're sort of game changers in the industry, let's say, but the industry is also developing with the digitalization. What would you say, looking at the industry today, what are sort of the major challenges that you're facing? If I start with you, Mark.
Well, this is very important because the first things is about the challenges facing the insurtech. I was stick in the insurtech. It starts from finding the way of getting from the right of the regulator, the license, the need of the license, the requirement of the license. This is a very obstacle. It faced most of the people, especially the fintech company. When they decide to just come to the any market, all the requirement, it takes time. Yes, it's one of the challenges. The most big challenges, especially in our market, is the low margin in the insurance, which actually is killing let's call it the innovations. For example, in Saudi Arabia, we have 2% for the TBL, which actually create a very low profit margin. Other challenges that we are facing absolutely is related to the product innovation, designing the product. By the end of the day, let's agree on one thing. Insurance is not, the structure of the product is not aligned. The interest of the product is not aligned. What I mean about it, insurer need to have the highest premium, the lowest claim. And the client need the opposite. So the align between the interests is not exist. So it's making a challenge to develop a product, to design a product. It's an intangible product.
Yeah.
So there are many challenges. I will focus more on developing a new solution based on the customer focus, not based on the company, what they need. Like, for example, copying comprehensive TBL. We have like dedicated, and we are still insurance. I do believe that we have time to develop more product, design more product related for every single region. Sometimes inside countries, every single city needs some specific product.
Oh, okay, yeah. Interesting. Would you agree?
I think, no, totally. And I think we've been running for perhaps a little longer than Muad and his organization. So, we've seen the few stages, and I'm quite concrete in my way on what the issues become. So if you take the different components, right? If you say, look, consumers benefit with technology, consumers benefit with research, transparency, platform. But the moment you talk about governments or regulators, usually they like innovation, but they don't like it when those innovations become too big. So everybody wants innovation in their country, but if you look at regulators versus Amazon, Google, etc., it's not a very friendly situation, right? And that's the same thing as we all grow, we have similar issues because they say it's okay, we want this to. So I think governments need to become more comfortable with scaling up of technologies. I think the second part I would say is from the insurer's perspective. They initially like the volume, they like the technology, but they also want the power. And yes, the consumer power starts to move very rapidly towards these platforms. So yes, as you scale, there are lots of resistances. You have to innovate faster than those resistances, because if you don't, like I tell our company internally, we have to grow at 50, 60, 70% year on year, because if you don't, then you start falling behind those resistances. And I think everybody, whether it's the government, whether it's the insurers who are responsible for the regulation eventually, they're all looking at this. What do I gain out of it? Yet they get the business, but what do I lose out of it? And that is, in a way, the power that they're ceding to any platform. And I think you have to grow fast enough for that to stay relevant. And if you don't grow fast enough, at some point, the negative aspects of a platform start becoming too much for not the consumer. The consumer still benefit from Uber, from everything else, from an Amazon. But I think the governments and the suppliers start to have an issue with that.
I would love to add one more. It's like related to what Mr. Sajid said about it. It's about when you are looking for growth in the fintech, it will face a little of challenges related to the market fit. today maybe they have more experience, than us in the expansion. For example, when we plan to go to move to other country, expansion to another country, you are actually building a new system, building a new company. It's not just coming and taking the product and fit it into the other country. So it's taking time, effort for growth if you are planning to growth. The fintech, I do believe, is still there is in the first stage, but especially in the insurtech, and with the understanding of government and insurance company, especially for example, I will focus in a central bank. They create a sandbox in Saudi, sandbox that give a hug, speeding up all the innovation ideas that helping all startup companies to be there to bring solution. This is we do believe that could support and help this issue.
Well, interesting, yeah, because every country has their own legislation and regulation around insurance. Do we have any regulators in the audience? No. Okay. Otherwise, I thought we could,
So we will say something good.
Address them a bit, because it is many times about bringing the stakeholders to the table. A lot of these conversations, you need to have an additional, representative from the regulation so that they can actually spark some conversation around it.
Absolutely, and I think. When you have those, it's very interesting to sometimes speak to regulators when they're in office and after they're in office, because they have different views in those two situations.
Yeah. I wanted just a thought that popped up to my mind when it comes to insurance, and especially when it comes to motor and automotive. Do you see any transition, bearing in mind that we're heading towards smart cities, automation, or autonomous cars and so forth? Does that sort of have any shift for insurance policies going forward? It was just a thought that popped in my head.
I love this question. Well done. This one, because we have a discussion with hello? Yeah, we have discussion that we are looking to be part of, for example, our Neom city in Saudi Arabia, because in Neom city, it's completely different model of insurance. So answering your question, yes, I totally believe that in the coming years, the whole model of insurance, it will be disrupted. I mean disrupted that it will be completely changing. If you go to the value chain of the insurance, you will see there is a huge room of innovation inside this one. Yes, so answering your question, absolutely for the smart city, we do believe that it will be completely different model of the current one, of the classic one.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking when it comes to health, we're an aging society, at least in some demographics of the world, not Africa and others. So also there, maybe insurance will be more about premiering people's health as opposed to the other way around.
I think things will transform in time. My view is you can take a 100-year view, you can take a 10-year view, you can take a 1-year view. When I specifically look at the market I operate in, which is India, I think the government spending on healthcare and basically life support, if you would, which is I would call it death care, if you could, that if people die, how are the families supported in that situation? I think the total money going towards that is actually very small, and that huge amount of money is difficult to come by. So I do feel insurance will stay quite relevant in that area, and a market like India, where the middle class is still growing, will stay hugely relevant. I think the private healthcare is set up for the ultra-rich. Again, ultra-rich is a definition. It wouldn't apply here. It would be like the average middle-income person of Dubai. But we have to understand India is a country where the per capita income today is $2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's going to take a long time before it gets to 10,000 and 15,000. So there's a huge amount of change that needs to happen. And I don't think it's an aspirational population. See, you can judge a country by how many of its people want to use government services. So people don't want to send their kids to a government hospital or a government school. And that tells you that that the private part has to play up in some way. So it's an interesting market. I totally agree. Every market has to be different. I cannot even think. See, for Policy Bazaar, 85% of what we do is health and life. I cannot even think of doing that, for example, in the UK or the US, or even in the UAE, because this is much more of a motor market.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know the Saudi market, but clearly it's much more from a retail perspective. It's much more of a motor market compared to health and life, which is
Yeah.
where
Where you're
India is
positioned.
different. Yeah.
I like that aspirational population. I like that phrase that you
Or you
used.
speak to any person. So I have kids. I live in the
Yeah.
UK, and I obviously live in India, and I talk to kids every day.
Yeah.
Whenever I get a chance, I ask a kid in the UK, "What do you want to do?" The kid says, "I'll be glad if I have a job."
Yeah.
Okay, and you ask a kid in India, "What do you want to do?" And he wants to set up
doctor.
a business. He wants to become the next Dhirubhai Ambani or the next Adani. So it's an aspirational population. There's no doubt about it.
I like that word. Let's all be aspirational populations. I wanted to see if there's any aspiration in our audience. Anyone who has a question that they'd like to ask, seize the opportunity. Usually takes one and up. Yes. Oh,
Hi, my name is Jill.
excuse me. Sound. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Perfect.
Okay. My name is Jill, and I come from tech industry. My question is, like, especially if you look at the global consumer after pandemic, flexibility and insured services became more and more popular, right? But then consumers want to have this embedded at one place, pretty much one click. Do you see, and that in that sense, aggregator of the insurance is more and more important. Do you see that scalability of InsurTech more towards embedded insurance or standalone? Like, what do you? I know it depends on the country, but still, if there is any trend you can see.
Good question.
So honestly, embedded is not good for the consumer. Honest. Because if you look at embedded products across the world, and there are quite a few of them, you will typically see a claims ratio of less than 20%, which means of the entire premium that the customer is paying, only 20% is going back to him. They are great distribution products. They are great distributor profitability products, but they are not very good for the consumer. For example, everybody here must be knowing travel insurance. Globally, travel insurance claims are less than 15%. Because it's a compulsory product, it's just the moment you look at motor insurance, claims ratio will be 70, 80%. Health insurance, 70, 80%. Always. So good products, in my opinion, are those that have 70, 80% claims ratio. 20% is a distribution product. And I think these are two different. So if you buy a mobile phone, you can get embedded insurance in it. Now, when does it start happening? That because of that, you start buying health insurance, which is your lifetime product. So there are certain products which are primary. I would believe motor insurance is primary. It's actually the first primary product. But otherwise, the primary products are health insurance, life insurance. These products have high amount of your monthly money goes into it, high involvement, and they cannot be sold on a whim, right? It's not $1 a month kind of product, right? So, and the genuine conversation is required, and that is where there will be people who will have a primary job of insurance rather than embedded. The embedded will largely use it as a money-making opportunity, which is great for them. Their customers need to think.
I came to think of the super app that was talking about earlier. Maybe that, but yeah. Sorry, why? Yeah. Anyone else who has a question? Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Ibrahim. I just want to ask Mr. Muayyad. He mentioned about one of the challenges is to design a product when it comes to the health insurance. As like personal experience that, okay, this is, you want this premium or this is basic, you need to sign up and pay. What about inventing like the customer, he can design what, okay, I don't require something about etc. of services. I just want to design what I need or what I expect that I need in the future. Okay, the price, and you can sign up whatever you want to subscribe for. You just not like, I read the product.
So more personalized.
Yes.
Personalized in a sense.
Very good. Very good question. Let's just categorize the broker and the agent and the insurance company. When you are a broker, you are not able to develop anything. You are just distributor. If you are agent, you can involve somehow, if you are TPA, involve somehow for development. Most of the challenges in the insurance that brokers not able to develop a product, which actually we are very close in touch with the client. We know the need of the client. But to develop a product, it's a long story. You need to go back to the reinsurance, start building something with the reinsurance, develop, taking the product to the insurance to sell it. By the end of the day, you cannot sell it because you are broker. So what we believe that I totally agree with you. Today, the market need innovation of understanding. You develop your own. The good news that in Saudi Arabia, some of the insurance companies start looking like what you mentioned. Today, they have the basic one, we call it TBL, the third-party insurance, and they add some add-on service. You can cover glasses, you can cover a wheel or something, etc. So this kind of solution, it will add value for end user. I totally believe in the coming years we will face a huge innovation in terms of developing a product that at Rasan, that what we are developing today, developing with the reinsurance, many products that to be designed specifically for our client and then to be provided to insurance company for sell point through all the aggregators.
Would you like to add anything?
No, I think yeah, Moad's covered the point. In India, a lot of companies have come up with products where the customer can design. Very low customer engagement here. Like, probably 1% of customers really want it. The stage we are at in India, most people don't even want to buy health insurance. So you got to really tell them that, look, if you go to hospital, the cost will be too much. Please buy something, otherwise it'll be very painful for you later on. And so people just end up and they just tell you, okay, tell me what I want to buy. I think there was a play I attended when I was a kid which said, do you want to know which t-shirt to wear every day, or do you want to choose from your rack what you want to wear every day? And both have their pros and cons. So it was an interesting one. People were unhappy both ways. So
just want to add one couple point here. When you look to the configuration or customization of insurance, if I take you health, you will have a headache of reading a lots of lists. And then you said, please, what is the basic? Give me the basic or give me this one. So some insurance company, they do package. Down of the package, you add some your specific criteria. That is helpful. For insurance, for motor, it's more or less options. They give you can customize. They give you the minimum one, TBL, and then you customize some of the benefit that you are looking for to cover.
And one last thing, you also have to protect the customer, specifically in a market like India. I believe in the market like UAE also, I think anywhere in the world, from mis-selling. So if I make the product with too many options, somebody may not explain those options and reduce price by, you get the story, right? And so that is something you got to really prevent against.
Any more questions? Yes? Someone with a mic?
Assalamu alaikum. Hi everybody, this is Ali Al-Muhsin. I want to ask Mr. Muayyad and maybe also Mr. Dahiya can participate in the answer. You are leading the InsurTech from the side of selling the policies, and you have done a great job there. But from our side as customers, we still have big pain in the claiming process. What are you doing in this area?
Good question.
Okay, Ali, I would love to thank you. Ali, one of the entrepreneurs in Saudi Arabia. Happy to see you here. It's absolutely that way, going back to the standalone product or no. However, it's a claim, it's one of the pain. That what the new companies, as a fintech company, as insurtech companies in Policy Bazaar or Rasan, that where we start developing the value chain, digging into the value chain of the insurance. Today, you mentioned that we are working only on the distributor. No, we have other product related to the insurance company, which help them to reduce the cost of the policy. Claim management is absolutely one of our target that we are targeting in the coming months to launch it. So we will take care of the whole journey from buying the insurance. If something happened for the claim, we will take care of it. So there are other providers called TBA. I'm not going to involve to this one, which actually they are solving the issue of the claim on behalf of insurance company. One of the main target that we have, and my team is here and they know about this, is not private, that we are planning to reduce the cost of the claim. So at Rasan, we are not distributor. We are planning to reduce the claim, or the average claim of the motor of the health. That can help insurance company to reduce the cost. So reducing a claim, it's reflected directly to the cost.
Absolutely, same stuff. So we've been operating that for some time now. We've got garage network coordinations. We've got claims assistance. In hospitals, it's as simple as in about 114 cities, if people go to hospital, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done at the hospital. So we will even have people come there, fill up those forms for you. I know that's not technology, but my view is, especially in a market like India, unless you own the problem, you cannot digitize it. So we have an approach of first take on the problem operationally and then digitize it once it's in your control. But that's what we've been doing.
Ali, we just have mentioned this one. I understand exactly the issue when someone has an accident, and the first thing he said, what I can do, who should I call, and later, I'm talking about now just only motor, it's nightmare, is who gonna collect the car, should I call this Murur, or should I call Najm, and all this process. But trust me that when we are, for a long time, we are developing, and that's what we are talking about, the innovation. We are developing a new model that can help our client to take him to the journey very fast, very quick, even you don't notice. For inshallah, you will not have an accident. Thank you, Ali.
Hopefully, it will be a smoother, seamless transition going forward on every aspect of insurance. I just, if there's another question, maybe they can approach you later. I just wanted to sort of more conclude, because you're two, successful both entrepreneurs and founders, and I'm sure we have a lot of both tech startups, aspiring founders, and so forth here. What are your innermost recommendations for an aspiring or an establishing startup or founder who really wants to, accelerate their company, regardless of which sector? What should they be thinking about as an aspiring entrepreneur?
Focus in the end user.
Focus on the end user.
Not copying what we have in the market. There is a huge room of innovation in the whole fintech company, in the whole fintech sector. I'm talking about insurance, banking, etc. Focusing on the need, not what you believe that the customer need. I totally believe that nothing will come, the result will not come in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. You need to have a long breath. You need to invest your time. It will be hard. It will be tired. It's not with the red carpet, everything is ready for you. It will be tough. And if you involve to this market, you will struggle for the coming 3 years, 4 years. But if you believe what we are doing and it will help the end user for long run, it's absolutely the key successful advice, I believe.
Having purpose and having resilience.
I can't say anything different. It's exactly the same. I would just add in that when you try to find purpose, try to see if you can find a deeper purpose, because obviously there's something which is obvious to everyone, and that you can assume people must have done something about it already. So try to dig the next layer and try to identify what could be a deeper purpose, because if you're going to solve something over 10 years, it has to be relevant 10 years from now as well. But yeah, exactly the same. Just, I call it find the reason why you're doing something and then just keep doing it.
Keep doing it. And don't forget your health, because I just want to mention, are you a 7-time Ironman athlete?
Yeah, it's a bit more than that, but yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's also good. We have to sometimes know the personal, and I'm sure you do a lot of training as well, but I wanted to lift that up because that's also important. Thank you so much. Thank you.